It is a strange thing that 6 months after we commemorate the events of Holy Week, 6 months after we relive the Lord's Passion and His crucifixion, we set aside this day to remember it again at the midpoint of our year, moving from one Holy Week, one experience of the Lord's Passion, one Pascha, to the next. And there are historical reasons that this day is set apart as the observance of the elevation of the cross. But I think we may take from it as well that we need this. It is not enough for us Christians to only reflect on the meaning of our Lord's submission to the death upon the cross once a year. It is not enough. We keep the cross constantly before our eyes. We wear it ceaselessly around our necks. We make the sign of the cross upon our rising in the morning and our going to sleep at night, upon our eating of meals. But do we consider what it means? The cross is simply the token of the love of the Lord for us. That although He is God, our Master, our Creator, the one whom we have wronged and rejected in our sinfulness, He loves us. And He has not abandoned us to the broken consequences of our rebellion against Him. He has not left us to wallow in the muck of our own making. He has come down and pursued us, and He loves us. And this is the token of the cross. Therefore, we need to be reminded of this not only because it is good news, although it is. We need to be reminded of this not only because it lets us know who God is, but it tells us something important about who we are and who we are called to be. And about the change that we must endure to move from one point to the other. What we are now is broken. And we can argue, we can say, I'm not that bad. I'm no worse than everybody else. Fine. Kala, alithya yun. It's true. None of us are worse than anybody else, and we are all irreparably broken. So kala, then pirazi. We're no worse than anyone else, but we're no better either. We are all broken. But we have this idea from our parents, our grandparents, from the society around us, from the culture that we inherit, I don't know. But we all have it. Aliens que Americanes, Greeks and Americans, men and women, young and old, we all have this idea that we deserve some honor, that we deserve some degree of respect. And if someone doesn't pay us the respect that we feel we are due, well then, we'll talk about them either to their face or behind their back for days, weeks, months, years. We are broken. And then we see the Lord, who alone, of all who have been born in this world, truly does deserve honor, respect, fear, indeed, to be treated rightly. We see him bow his head, and as we say in the hymns of Holy Week, he offers his cheek to the smiters, his back to the whip, his head to the crown of thorns, his body to the cross. And does he utter a word against those who treat him so poorly? One word, one sentence does he say about those who abuse him. He says, "Father, forgive them. They do not know what they do." So the message of this feast is love. Love in the face of hatred. Love in the face of abuse. Blessing in response to cursing. Forgiveness and grace in response to abuse and belittlement. And this is not so easy for us to hear, because the conclusion which we cannot escape if we look at the Lord on the cross with honest and open eyes is that every time we open our mouth to complain about those who have treated us wrongly, every time we allow ourselves to be given over to anger at those who have not given us the respect we feel we deserve, we dishonor the Lord in his sacrifice and his love. We accept his gift and we refuse to give it to those around us. Every time we react to one another in anger and in pride, we fail to walk in the path that Christ has called us to walk. This is a hard word. We do not want to hear it. But the Lord gives no excuses to us. What he does say, he gives us an assurance that to follow him, to take up our cross ourselves, is blessed. He says, "Come to me, all of you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, take my cross upon you, and learn from me, for I am meek and lowly of heart. But my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." If we let go of the idea that we deserve some respect, some honor from our brothers and sisters, from those who are better than us and those who are worse than us, if we let go of our insistence on being treated in one way or another, if we follow Christ in that meek and lowly way, which seems so hard for us even to fathom, to accept the way people treat us, even when it burns. It seems impossible. But we have a promise from the lips of the Lord himself, who alone would know that we will find this burden easy and this yoke light. That if we can lose our life He will give it back to us again, fulfilled and perfect. So as we raise the cross on high today, let us not do it only in action, only externally. Let us take up the cross in our hearts. Let us follow the Lord of life, who is the master of all, through his obedience and his humility. Please stand.